Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book unhaul. If you guys have been following my channel for the past month or two, you guys have probably seen a lot of these books featured in various videos, and I'm just ready to clean out my life, clean out my shelves, get rid of some books that I'm definitely never going to read again. So I'm gonna go through these books one by one, kind of tell you why I'm getting rid of them, maybe tell you why I have them in the first place. I don't know, I like knowing why people are getting rid of things, and sometimes it kind of helps me find books that I might be interested in. So maybe this will be some sort of help to you guys. So the first book that I'm getting rid of is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I got this one for the video that I did when I was taste testing Kayla from Books and Lala's favorite books. I'll leave a link to her channel in the description down below. She really loves the series. I like the series as well. I gave this book 4 stars. So you're probably like, you liked this book, you have 4 stars, why are you getting rid of it? For me personally, if I were to hold on to this book or hold on to this series, I would want it in hardcover. And when I reread it, I didn't think that I was going to enjoy it very much the second time around. So it was sort of my own mistake getting a paperback copy of this. And I could just keep it and suck it up, but I think if I do ever want to own the books physically, I'll just go ahead and get the whole series as hardcovers because that's what is on my shelves. Primarily hardcovers. So the next book is one that I actually have 2 copies of. This was for my I Read 5 video when I read like throwback, I don't know, Gossip Girl type books, and this is The Clique by Lacey Harrison. I think a lot of you guys probably know what this book is about, but don't need 2 copies of this. I don't even need 1 copy. I pretty much, for most of my videos like my taste test or my I Read 5 videos, I like to own physical copies so I can easily hold them up while I'm talking about them, but these are not things that I'm going to keep long term. I got these, I think from Goodwill on Amazon for like $1, so I don't feel weird about unhauling these. Hopefully a unsuspecting young girl will find these and read them and hate them as much as I did when I reread them. Yeah, I definitely don't need these in my collection. Fun to reread, just not something I'm ever probably going to reread again after this. Along those same lines, I am also unhauling Private by Kate Bryan. This is another one that I read for that I Read 5 video, which I'm gonna link in the cards above if I remember. I'm also unhauling Pretty Little Liars by Sarah Shepard. This series, it's funny because I really liked it the first time I read it, but reading it again, I think I hated this one out of all of the books that I read for that video. I didn't like it and it did not stand the test of time for me. I also really don't like movie or TV show tie-in covers, so I'll be happy to get rid of this one. And then again, along those same lines, I'm getting rid of Gossip Girl by Cecily von Ziegesar. This one, I liked it better the second time around, but again, it's not something that I need on my shelves, and I can easily get the ebooks from my library if I ever feel compelled to read this again. So the next book I'm getting rid of is Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. I read this, I want to say last year or early this year for a book club that I participated in, and I didn't like this upon reread. It really, I know for a lot of people it's one of those nostalgic YA paranormal series. I know that I really liked it. It definitely had those Twilight feels, but I just don't like the characters upon reread. I didn't like Patch very much. I thought he was just kind of a douchebag. And then Nora is also kind of a wet blanket. I liked the kind of spooky elements to this. I do think it was a little bit different than some of the other books around that time, and I do think that the storytelling is done fairly well. It's just, I mean, this is not like literature. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to like pass judgment if you guys like this book. Like, it's not a bad book. It just, I don't have the emotional ties that I think a lot of people have for this series. I don't feel weird parting with this. It's also a paperback, so it's just not gonna miss it. These next 2 books are ones that I thought I had unhauled previously, but I just guess I didn't. The first one's Milk and Honey by Ruby Kaur. It's not the worst thing I've ever read. I understand why people enjoy modern poetry, but maybe because I didn't do the whole like dating thing growing up, I don't relate to a lot of the poetry in this. It's about like heartbreak and being treated poorly by your significant other, which luckily I cannot relate to. So it's okay, it's fine. I don't find this particularly feminist, which I think a lot of people say that it is. I don't know, there's a whole lot of like, not a whole lot. There's a whole poem that like basically woman shames another woman, and I don't really like that. This is just not my favorite. I feel like I kind of want to get back into modern poetry and maybe pick up some of the newer things that are coming out and see if they're better. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to see me read more modern poetry, but this just was not my fave and I don't want it on my shelves anymore. So the next book that I'm getting rid of, again, I thought I had already gotten rid of this since I have gotten rid of every other book in this series. It's Tower of Dawn by Sarah J Maas. I like the ACOTAR series, didn't love the Throne of Glass series. It's not terrible, but I don't feel invested enough in it to read all like 8 books in the series. So unfortunately, even though this one in particular is one that a lot of people enjoy, it's not something that I'm really invested in. Again, I don't read a lot of series, and a 7-book series, it's just too much for me. So I'm going to be passing this along to someone else. The next 5 books are books that I just read for my latest I Read 5 video, which was me reading the lowest rated books on my TBR. Again, I'm going to put it in the cards up above if you guys want to go and watch that. I am getting rid of The Love Interest by Kiel Dietrich, Ship It by Britta London, The Mister by E.L. James, Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. Actually, I think I got the 5th book. I got the 5th book from my library. Who am I kidding? I'm only getting rid of 4 of the books from that video. I didn't really enjoy any of these. I think the one that I disliked the least, does that make any sense, was The Love Interest. This wasn't a terrible book, but none of these books are ones that really changed my mind. They were all super low rated on Goodreads. I think they were all under 3.5 stars, which to me is very low rated. And I didn't like any of them. There's no reason for me to keep these. I'm gonna get rid of them. Even if this book is super nice to look at, I don't need it on my shelves. The next 2 are books that I also read for my taste test video for Kayla, and the first one is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I liked this book. I gave it 4 stars, but since it is a thriller, I don't feel like I want to keep it on my shelf. I try to only keep books that I feel like I'm going to reread or get something out of a second time. This is just not one of those thrillers that I feel like there's a lot to discover a second time around. I do feel like this one left me thinking. For sure, the ending definitely leaves you thinking, but it's not something that if I go back and read, I'm gonna get a different experience a second time around. So sadly, I'm gonna be parting with this one. It was just not the most complex of thrillers. And then I am also getting rid of Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. I liked this. I think I gave this one 5 stars in that video, but again, it's paperback and this just isn't something that I'm going to reread. I really didn't want to reread it for the video in the first place just because I remember thinking it was just whatever in middle school, and I think this is one of those middle grade books, even though I think it's YA, that kind of transcends like age demographics. I think a lot of different people can relate to this book. It's just not something that has themes that I want to revisit time and again, and I feel like there are other books that perhaps address some of these themes a little bit better or in a more nuanced way, if that makes sense. Nothing against this book, I think it's fantastic. It's just not something that I'm personally going to be revisiting, so I think I'm going to pass this along to another unsuspecting middle schooler who will be forced to read this for their summer reading or whatever. The next 2 books are also books that I got for a taste test video. These 2 are for the taste test that I did for the lovely Gabby from Gabby Reads, and these both have something in common, which I didn't know that I didn't like going into that video, and it is the apocalypse or aliens or space travel or anything related to that, or just the expanse of the universe. The Humans by Matt Haig and We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. These are pretty similar books in that they deal with kind of end of the world scenarios or dealing with humanity as a whole. We Are the Ants deals with alien abduction and the apocalypse specifically, and then The Humans is about an alien coming to Earth and having to take some people out who know certain secrets. Liked The Humans, okay, I think I gave this book 3 stars, and then We Are the Ants I really didn't like. I'm just finding that these are not my particular cup of tea. This sort of theme, I think I'm actually probably gonna add this to my list of very specific things that I do not like in literature. Again, they're not terrible books. I think The Humans is actually pretty solid. Just not for me, not something that I'm ever going to reread. The next book I am getting rid of is Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. This is the US version, and I'm only getting rid of it because I got a UK copy of it, nothing more dramatic than that. I just don't really want to own an uncompleted series in US hardcover when I already have it in UK hardcover, so anyway, getting rid of this. And then the last book that I'm getting rid of is one that I know Heather's gonna be kind of upset about me getting rid of. It's House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. I really liked this book. I enjoyed reading it. It was definitely a page turner, but it's just not something that I'm going to reread realistically. I read this on vacation, which was really nice because I was on the beach reading about kind of a beach setting, and it was definitely spooky, so I liked that aspect, but it's just, like, at the end of the day, it's a 4-star read, but it's not something that's gonna stick around in my memory as like, oh, a really just fantastic fucking book. I just generally don't like books about the sea anyway, or like pirates or anything like that. This isn't about pirates, obviously, but I just, not my cup of tea. And I feel like if I want to kind of revisit the 12 Dancing Princesses story, I'll just watch the Barbie movie, so. That is it. Those are all of the books that I'm going to be unhauling. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys have read any of these books and if you enjoyed them, if you're salty that I'm getting rid of any of them. But that's it. I love you guys so much, and until next time.